We need more people to be taking sustainability more seriously. One way to get young people involved is to really focus on the fact that this is kind of about our future. Buy less. We can't do it alone. It's too big of a problem to be able to do it by ourselves. So yeah, find your people. That's my message.
皆様ごきげんよう、高松菜奈です。今日はですね、イギリスの環境活動家兼アーティストのトルメイアさんにお越しいただきました。エシカルファッションについてですね、いろいろお伺いしていきたいと思います。
Okay, let's go. Hi, I am Tomaya Gregory. I am a 21-year-old climate justice activist and an artist from the UK. As an environmental activist, I do lots of direct action, so going out and protesting, but I also do smaller things locally, so working with like a local climate group to put like vegetable planters somewhere or connect with the community and do like free clothes shops and things like that. Just anything to kind of get the conversation around the climate crisis going and getting people thinking about it. And a lot of people know me for what I do on social media, so using platforms like Instagram to share my message. And then as an artist, I use art as a form of talking about the climate crisis, especially kind of the emotions it brings with it, so how it makes me feel. Sometimes it makes me feel very sad, sometimes it makes me feel very angry, so using art to kind of express that. And I'm also quite well known for my GIF stickers that I have created on the Giphy platform, and those have been viewed I think 9 billion times now, which is a very big number, but yeah, they are a really fun way for people to share kind of environmental messages on social media. Especially more recently I do paintings and more like physical pieces, and yeah, that's my goal for kind of this year, is to maybe do some sort of exhibition or something like that to get people engaged in the climate conversation through artwork. So obviously I use like my Instagram and social media platforms. I think that's one of the main ways that I get people involved, is by sharing the things that I do and sharing the things that I care about, so that they kind of have an idea of what maybe they could get involved in too. And then also showing people all of the different ways they can get involved, because the media, I think especially, makes it out like the only way to be an activist for climate change is to kind of like in a road and block traffic or be very disruptive with protest, whereas there are a lot of different roles that go alongside that. So you could be, like me, you could be an artist who designs like posters and things like that for protests, or you could be a photographer who is capturing everything, you could be someone making a film about it. And one thing I always like to say is that you could even be someone who just makes cups of tea for people so that they're looked after whilst doing all of this stuff, because it can be really hard work. So I think on Instagram I have like almost 17,500, and on Twitter I have like, I don't know, 4,000 or something like that. Compared to a lot of people, that's not huge, but I really like my audience, so I'm okay with that number. Yeah, I think the majority are kind of like 20 to 30, so that kind of age bracket. So I think people follow me because I try and make things quite easy to understand, and I try and make it kind of fun and engaging, because talking about something like climate change can be really scary for a lot of people, and something that's quite daunting, and they don't know what to do about it. So I try and make it as easy to understand and something that they might actually want to get involved with, rather than it scaring them away. Like I was saying, one of the things I like to do is try and show examples of how you can get involved in the climate movement. And so I did this post a while ago, which basically, it was originally a Twitter thread, and I basically broke down all of the different things that people could do. And I think it just showed, it gave a really good example of how people can use the things that they already enjoy doing, or the things that they're good at doing, to get involved. So if you're like someone who is an accountant and you know how to work on spreadsheets, you could help a climate movement or a climate organization to handle their money. And so putting it into this perspective of kind of what your skills are, I think is really helpful for people to understand. And I'm not sure people had even thought about it that way before. So yeah, that was something I'm quite proud of showing people. Yeah, so Extinction Rebellion was one of the first movements I joined in the UK because they were doing a lot of protests a couple of years ago, and I went along not really knowing anything, and it just has quite a good kind of like vibe and atmosphere to it. It's very like welcoming, at least to me at the time, and I think it takes the matter of climate change very seriously, and when I was part of Extinction Rebellion, it gave me the opportunity to express that very clearly. And you know, if I was feeling sad about climate change, I could share that with everyone else in the movement. And it's also very good at being very loud about the problem. So a lot of the protests that happen in the UK are very colourful and loud and make a big fuss and disruption, and that's what we need. We need to kind of shine a light on the issue, and I think that's why EXIT did a really good job of that. I mean, yeah, I feel like I can't really speak for other places in the world because obviously there are different challenges that we're facing, but I think again that's maybe part of it is education and just kind of trying to make more people aware of how serious the issue is. So something that I think is really important to speak about is something like the Ipcc Report, which they release them kind of every few years or whatnot, but there was one recently which basically was saying like we only have the next few years to really mitigate climate change. And so I think if more people were really aware of the seriousness of the issue, then we would be able to get more people on board for the movement. But again, it really depends on kind of where you live and what challenges you face in actually going out there and protesting or speaking about it, because I know in the UK I'm very fortunate that I can do that quite freely. Yeah, so I think I found basically the idea is to, like I mentioned, kind of slow down and not buy as much, because that is one of the main problems when it comes to sustainability in fashion. And so this gave people an opportunity to do that and to just stop buying everything that they usually do. And so for me, because I had already sort of slowed down myself and wasn't buying that much anyway, I found it quite easy. I think in the year that I did it, I only bought one thing the whole year. And yeah, it's made me more aware of my choices, and even now, like, I buy more than I did during that year, but I'm very, very conscious of the choices that I make when I'm shopping. Yeah, it's a really good opportunity to get you thinking about where your clothes are made and who makes them. I don't think it prevents me from enjoying it, because I think when you have kind of limitations, so you have to buy less or you're only shopping from certain brands in certain places, I think you start being more creative, because you're looking for specific things and you're using what you already own. And I think that is more fun in itself than just going out and buying the same things that everyone else is buying. So when you know the kind of environmental cost to something, you think more about what you're buying, and I think it makes it more fun to me. I mean, if it's becoming a trend, that's great. We need more people to be taking sustainability more seriously and taking the climate crisis as something that the fashion industry can play a role in. The only thing with this becoming a trend is the issue of greenwashing. So when companies make themselves seem more eco-friendly than they really are. I think one good example of this is a company like H&M, where they kind of use lots of words about sustainability, but actually they're producing millions and millions of garments. And so that means that young people might be getting like misled, or they might think that companies like this are sustainable when actually it's just a lot of kind of advertising and PR to make themselves look better than they really are. So again, I think for me, one thing that people can do is buy less. So they don't necessarily have to completely avoid a certain company, but if we just buy less, these companies won't have anyone to produce as much as they do for. So I think that's one of the biggest issues within fashion is just the amount that we're producing. So I think, yeah, looking at our shopping habits and how much we buy each year is really important. So I'd say there are three main ones. The first one is to educate yourself, so learn about the issue, because I think that makes it a lot easier to start making changes when you're actually aware of the real big problem that there is within fashion. The next thing would be to buy less, like I said, so just stop buying as much. Don't necessarily think about the brands to start with, but just start thinking about what you actually need to buy. And then the last one would be to get involved in kind of local community actions to do with fashion. So something that I have done locally is a free shop. So this is giving away old secondhand clothes for free. So it makes it really accessible for people who might not be able to afford sustainable alternatives, but gives them the opportunity to do it in their local community. I think one way to get young people involved is to really focus on the fact that this is kind of about our future and how, you know, most of the impacts of climate change, although in certain places in the world they're already being felt, a lot of them are going to happen when we are in the kind of main chunk of our lives. You know, they're going to happen in our future. And so I think framing it like that is really important. You know, something that I worry about as a young person is whether I'm going to feel like it's the right decision to have my own children, because I don't want them to grow up in a world which is impacted by climate change. And so I think highlighting how it is going to be such a big part of our lives going forward is one way that we can engage more young people, is to get them thinking about the fact that it's their future. Okay, my message would be to find other people who also care about the problem. So if you are worried about climate change and the impacts it might have on your life, try and speak about it with your friends, speak about it with your family, people you go to school with. Don't be alone in it. Like, make sure you are finding other people around you who you can also talk about this problem with and take action with, because we can't do it alone. It's too big of a problem to be able to do it by ourselves. So yeah, find your people. That's my message.
トルメイアさんのお気に入りのお店に今から連れて行っていただきます。インターネットとかでも買われてるそうです。
This is pick and weight, which is a kilo vintage sale. So this one is basically by kilo, by the weight. So you put as much as you want into a bag and they price it on how much the bag weighs. You can get quite a good deal. So if you get things which are quite light, you're going to save a lot of money, so it's cheaper. Yeah. So you can put them in.
おお、あ、こうやって量り売りをするんですね。
And then,
あ
so that would be 47.
あ、おお、I see。タグの色によって違うんですね、値段が。
This is new, so this is from an artist called Black Lodge Press, and I just like the art on it and the fact that it's talking about climate change, so I can wear what I care about. And then I would wear this on top of that, which is a jumpsuit, and I got this. This is secondhand, and I got this for free from a free shop that I hosted in my community. So people could pick out secondhand clothes without having to spend any money. And then to go with that, it's a very red outfit. I have this vintage suede jacket that I actually bought when I was in America a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's a nice jacket. And then the shoes I got off of Depop in the UK. This is an app that we have, which is also secondhand. And yeah, I think it's a very nice red outfit altogether. So this is the next outfit, which is this jumper that I got from a charity shop. So this is also secondhand. I almost didn't buy this, but I actually have worn it so much since I did because I like it a lot. It's very nice quality and it's very warm. And then I would actually put it with this vintage full skirt, and I actually made this fit me because it was too big when I bought it. So I sewed it so it was smaller, and I think it actually looks very nice together.
Today's clothes do
yeah.
you like?
Yeah, so this is my favourite pair of dungarees that I got secondhand, and I have all my pin badges on it, and then this is a vintage floral shirt.
Oh, very cool.
Thank you.
最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。ぜひチャンネル登録、高評価お願いいたします。それではまたごきげんよう。